So thank you to everyone that has taken the time out of their day to come and learn about building futures pathways to trades. Before we begin, I would like to provide an acknowledgement of country. I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the land on which I meet you from today, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and future. I extend that respect to the Aboriginal lands from which you have joined the meeting and pay my respects to their elders past, present and future. And I also extend my respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. So let me begin by introducing myself. My name is Katie Yates and I'm the Community Project Manager for Tradeswomen Australia Community Foundation. I'm joined by my wonderful colleagues, Fiona McDonald, who is Managing Director and Founder of Tradeswomen Australia, and Richard Dent, Senior Associate at Tradeswomen Australia Community Foundation. So to kick us off, Fiona, would you mind if I hand it over to you for a moment to talk a little bit about the context of the Tradeswomen Australia group?
Thanks so much, Katie, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to come along tonight and learn a bit more about this really exciting program that we're running. Tradeswomen Australia Community Foundation exists to support vulnerable and at-risk women to transition to financial and life security through career and other pathways, and we connect women to employers and others, primarily in trade-related industries. So what does that mean? Community Foundation exists to support women into trade pathways, and this program is a real wraparound of that support. And the way we do it is, as Katie will go into detail, through peer support and mentoring. So we really want to see more women entering into trade pathways because women currently represent less than 2% of the workforce. And in Australia, we have at least 65 trades on our national skills shortage list. We need more tradespeople, and there's absolutely incredible job opportunities to be had in these sectors and long, sustainable and financially rewarding careers as well. As we see trades progress into automation and progress into renewables areas, there's a lot of opportunities, and that's why we would like to begin linking women into these. How do we know about all these jobs? Well, that brings me to the other organisation that we represent at Tradeswomen Australia. So we are two entities, two charities working side by side. At our other entity, Tradeswomen Australia Foundation, we are working directly with employers across the nation to encourage them to employ women, but to support them through training and resources and coaching to help them create inclusive work environments. So we deliver a lot of training programs around diversity and inclusion, unconscious bias, bystander action training to help male-dominated cultures improve and support women when they enter the door. We work with some absolutely amazing companies who are leading the way in diversity and inclusion and really want to see a range of new people coming through and entering into their trade jobs. So we're really grateful to see this program come together and to see Katie working so amazingly on bringing it all together and bringing it all, I suppose, our dreams to life for us, because we just have these amazing opportunities that need to get out there. So the relationships between the two companies, I hope that kind of explains how they work together. And I really hope that you enjoy today's session. And if you have any questions for me or Katie afterwards, please pop them in the chat. I'll be monitoring it. If you have any directly for me, feel free to shoot me a direct message. And yeah, make sure you follow up afterwards because we'd really love to be involved, see you in the program. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Fiona. So as Fiona mentioned, she'll be kindly monitoring the chat function in Zoom today. So feel free to drop any questions in there throughout the session and she can field them to me as appropriate. If we don't answer your question straight away, don't panic. It may be that your question will be answered in the content that we're delivering tonight, which will explain why we don't go through it straight away. We also have a big portion of time allocated to the Q&A at the end of the session, so there'll be another opportunity to ask questions then. Also, by way of housekeeping, as I've already mentioned, you're welcome to have your cameras on or off, depending on what you're most comfortable with, but please do keep yourself muted and use the chat to ask questions. And the session is being recorded so that we can share it with other prospective participants and other organisations that are going to help us find participants for the programme. We'll stop recording when it comes to the Q&A, so please don't feel inhibited to ask questions using the chat, and I'll look forward to answering them. Finally, we will also share the slide deck at the end of the session, so you don't need to worry about writing anything down. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is to share information on our inaugural program, Building Futures, Pathways to Trades, to enable practitioners to select women from their networks to participate, and to empower individual women joining us tonight to register to participate and know exactly what to expect from the program. So if I move on to my first slide, as Fiona mentioned, with female representation within Australia's trades industry at less than 2% and unchanged for decades, the entities that make up Tradeswomen Australia Community Foundation, Tradeswomen Australia Group, which are Tradeswomen Australia and Tradeswomen Australia Community Foundation, are working to remove the barriers that prevent women from getting trades jobs. So Tradeswomen Australia Community Foundation seeks to ensure that all women can live free of poverty and disadvantage by participating in the career of their choice. And we know that Australia is entering a lengthy period of economic recovery in the wake of COVID-19, and that government and private sector investment in construction and infrastructure will be central to this recovery process. Moreover, research shows that women, and particularly women of colour, have been disproportionately impacted by job insecurity and job loss throughout the pandemic. Therefore, at Tradeswomen Australia Community Foundation, we support women's financial security by encouraging employment in trades, both to boost their financial security and to contribute to Australia's post-COVID economic recovery. So now I'll tell you a little bit more about the programme on my next slide. So Building Futures Pathways to Trades is a pilot programme located in Wyndham and is kindly sponsored by the Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation, Victoria University and Wyndham City Council. Fundamentally, this programme is free to join, and we're piloting the programme in Wyndham with the intention of going to scale to offer the opportunity to many other women across Australia upon completion. So in this context, it will be really localised, and we understand that every local context will be slightly different. So we'll work with those communities to make sure that the programme works for the women that are living and working there at the time. The programme comprises 4 workshops hosted from March through to June, where participants will have a unique opportunity to learn more about trades careers and receive support into their next step, be that an apprenticeship, TAFE, full-time, part-time job, whatever it is that that woman would like and has time and capacity for. We also appreciate that there'll be some other pathways as a result of this course. Perhaps some women will join and think, actually, I'd really like to go and improve my literacy and numeracy skills. And that's just as valid and relevant training as going into an apprenticeship in carpentry. So complementing these workshops, there'll be a launch event in March and a graduation event in June to celebrate the participants' successes. And I am delighted to share that we'll be hosting those events at the Refectory in Werribee Mansion. So a really beautiful space in the heart of Werribee, which hopefully will be easy for everyone to get to. That said, we don't want there to be any financial barriers to joining this programme. As I've said, it's free to join, but if coming to the events presents a financial difficulty for you, please do let us know, because we'll be able to support on your travel to each launch, graduation and the workshop. Of course, this is all COVID dependent, so we have a 4-step COVID plan just in case the restrictions change. But at this stage, we will be hosting all of our workshops and our launch and graduation in person. So you can see the dates for each event on the screen now. Our launch is on Saturday, the 13th of March, so about 3 weeks away. Then we have workshops on Saturday, the 27th of March, Saturday, the 24th of April, Saturday, the 15th of May, and Saturday, the 5th of June. And then finally, our graduation event takes place on Saturday, the 19th of June. And as I've said, we'll be sharing this slide deck, so you don't need to worry about writing these dates down at this stage. So to maximise the number of women that we can work with for this pilot, we'll be running 2 cohorts in parallel. So this means that there'll be 2 identical workshops per day, and the first workshop will take place between 9 AM and 12 PM, and the second workshop will take place from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. As I said, the workshops are exactly the same. So all we ask is that the participants can commit to attending either the mornings or the afternoons consistently, just so that we can make sure that those peer groups become really tight-knit support groups. And then we'll also, COVID dependent, be aiming to provide an optional lunch between both of the sessions. And this group lunch will provide an opportunity for both cohorts, the morning and the afternoon, to meet and build relationships over the 4-month pilot period. So this peer support, we believe, will be really crucial to the success of the programme, because it will outline how many women are interested at this stage and how many women we want to roll this out to, as well as showing that there is support beyond the people that are just in the seminar room with those women at that time. So as I've said, at this stage, we're planning for the workshops to be in person, and we're working with one of our sponsors to understand the best venue in a place close to public transport in the Wyndham area. So as I've said, we're happy to assist with transport costs if this presents a barrier, and we will be able to update you on exactly what that location is a little bit closer to the first workshop. As I've already mentioned as well, we definitely have a COVID plan, so we will flex the programme delivery according to the restrictions to ensure that the participants still receive the same high quality experience, whether it takes place online or in person. So after this workshop, we'll provide a link and a form for to register for the programme. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that. So you can either immediately fill in the link, and that has all the questions there. The form is exactly the same, so you can fill that out on Microsoft Word and send it back to us, or you can print it out, fill it in by hand, and then send it back to us by taking a picture of it on a smartphone and sending that over. So there's lots of options depending on the level of access that you have. And we ask questions in that registration form about your level of access as well, just so that we can understand exactly how we can help you. So if you don't have a computer, don't worry, we can help you with that. If you don't have access to a scanner, don't worry, all of these things shouldn't be barriers for you, and we will work together to understand how best to work through this programme and make sure that you can attend. So we'll focus on women in vulnerable and at-risk demographics, including but not limited to newly arrived women, women from lower income households, and women recovering from trauma. So we understand that vulnerable can be classed across a variety of intersections, and there are no limitations on age or ability, but we do ask that the participants are comfortable attending workshops that are 3 hours in length and are delivered in English. There will be some activities to do at home, but again, this shouldn't be a barrier to access. So we'll provide opportunities for the participants to do the homework immediately before or after the workshop that they've attended. So if you attend in the morning, there'll be time whilst the afternoon session is running for you to do the homework. And likewise, if you attend in the afternoon, there'll be time in the morning session for you to come a little bit early and do some of that work there. And again, numeracy and literacy shouldn't be a barrier to this. So if you feel more comfortable filling in some of the homework in your first language and your first language isn't English, that's totally fine, because a lot of the homework will be really personal anyway. So it's not that we'll be taking it and marking it. It will just be that we hope that you'll do these to help your own development. So we're looking for 70 participants, which we will split into 2 groups according, where possible, to the participants' preferred availability. Of course, I will caveat that with, if everyone says they want to do Saturday mornings, we will have to disappoint some people by making some people come in the afternoon. As a reminder, it's free to join the programme, and all we're asking for is your time and willingness to participate and learn. So hopefully you'll get something really amazing out of this programme. Just move on to my next slide. So we've designed the theory of change to show the journey that the participants will take, and the outcomes that we anticipate from this programme are as follows. So participants will gain access to trades businesses, will see a variety of roles within the trades industry and the women that occupy them, have increased knowledge of the different roles available to them, develop supportive relationships with their peers and mentors, and of course with us at Tradeswomen Australia, and will finish the programme with increased confidence in their abilities. But it's not just confidence that we want you to walk away with. By the end of the programme, we hope that you will be in the process of pursuing a career within the trades industry and will have secured jobs or further relevant training to begin carving that pathway, whatever that may look like. And we'll help you with all of that too. So with all of this in mind, I'm going to move on to my next slide to tell you a little bit about how we've designed each workshop around the outcomes that you see on screen, so that the participants follow a linear journey, which will enable them to try, select and apply for roles whilst busting some of the myths and stereotypes about the kinds of people that work in trades. So workshop 1 will have our participants forming relationships with their peers. So the most important part of this first workshop is introductions. We know that going into a new place is scary, sitting with a load of people you don't know is scary. So we'll be creating a really safe environment for the participants to explore who they are and explore who the people they're sitting with are as well, so that they understand that this can be a really close-knit, supportive group for women going into trades in the future. So we also hope that participants will establish their interests to help direct them into meaningful roles. And the concept of resilience will be introduced in a workplace context. So we'll be thinking about why resilience is important in the workplace, how it helps us, how we may have experienced resilience in the past, not in a workplace context, and can bring that to the workplace to overcome some of the challenges that you might see in a trades industry and indeed in any job that you go into going forward. A second workshop on Saturday, the 24th of April, is when participants will have access to trades businesses. So this is the one I'm really excited about, and I really, really hope COVID doesn't shut us down, because we plan to do a trades fair convention. So we'll have lots of different trades represented at this convention, and it will be an opportunity for our participants to really give it a go. It's all well and good thinking, oh, I think I'd like to do this trade, but if you've never picked up a tool, then you might change your mind when you have a go. What we'll do is we'll ask participants to work in groups to solve industry-specific problems whilst they're viewing these different trades as well, so that they really do get to have a go and get to understand the kinds of skills that are required in a role like that. So it'll be things like problem solving, using your initiative, communicating with your client or employer, and teamwork in some cases as well, as they'll be working together to solve these problems. Resilience again will be returned to, and this is something that we'll come back to every month, just so that we can make sure that it's really, really key and really central to the way that we're moving forward. We then have our third workshop, which takes place on Saturday, the 15th of May. And this is when participants will see a variety of roles and women in them, and will have increased knowledge of the different roles available to them. So we'll be busting myths about the types of women that work in trades, and we'll be bringing lots of different women in to talk to their experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, appreciating that every job has great days and every job also has some not great days, and that's really valuable to learn too. So the participants will meet different female tradies who will speak to their experiences, they'll speak to the journey that they took to get into this role, and there'll be lots of different journeys outlined as well, because it's important to show that careers aren't linear, and we want the women to feel super comfortable coming from wherever they're coming from and us meeting them there to help them into this next step. This is also when our participants will be made aware of a mentoring opportunity, but I will return to this in a later slide. We then have our fourth and final workshop, which takes place on the 5th of June. And this is when participants, again, will have increased knowledge of the different roles available to them, but they will also begin securing jobs and further training in the trades industry at this stage. So we're working with Maths National, who are an amazing apprenticeship provider and trainer, and they work with schools to make young people feel really confident in their next step. They've got loads of different really interesting tools that help those young people identify what that next step might be. And we're bringing Maths in to run this workshop for us and to make sure that every woman has an opportunity to work one-on-one with Maths, understand their abilities where they are, understand what they may want to or need to work on, and understand where to go next according to these different quizzes that they'll run with them. So there's the Escher House test, which helps understand someone's capacity for committing to an apprenticeship, which will be really useful for some of these women. And then there'll also be the opportunity to signpost to other relevant training as well. So it may be that there's a pre-apprenticeship or a certificate that that these women don't even know about, but Mass National will be able to direct them to that and help signpost to their next opportunity. Participants will also practice mock interviews, and they will work with each other to perfect their resumes and actually apply for those roles in the workshop, so that they've left having really achieved more than just attending all these workshops and engaging with them, but actually they've made job applications and they've thought about their resilience in the process of job hunting, which is never fun for anyone, let alone when you're trying to get into an industry for the first time. So again, in that final workshop, we'll really be practicing the resilience that we've talked about. Then at our graduation session, which you don't see on here, but I'm going to share with you anyway, because I'm really excited about it. I hope that by this stage, participants will have increased confidence in their ability to pursue trades careers. And we'll have a couple of keynote speakers, photo opportunity, and we'll be handing out certificates to congratulate and celebrate all of the women that have completed the course. So that's an outline of all of the sessions. And as I've said, if you've got any questions, please do drop them into the chat. And then I'm going to move on to my next part, which is about the ongoing support that we'll be providing along with those sessions. So as I alluded to when we were talking about workshop number 3, there'll be a mentoring opportunity. So we acknowledge that this is a really brief program. It's delivered over a span of 4 months, and the participants will be supported on a more sustained basis by a year-long program of mentoring. So this will begin halfway through the program in May 2021 and can take place either in person or virtually, depending on the mentee's level of access and of comfort. So if they'd prefer to speak on the phone, that's totally fine. If they want to meet in person, great, please do that too. We're recruiting female mentors from trades careers to formally support their mentee over a period of 1 year. And when the official mentoring duration concludes in May 2022, the mentor and the mentee will have an opportunity to evaluate their mentoring relationship and choose to continue if they're both continuing to benefit from it. So we'll be staying in touch with each mentor and each mentee throughout the year-long relationship, and we'll be working with them as well to support so that hopefully they do continue that relationship, but also the mentees become mentors for successive cohorts in Wyndham and in Victoria. And I think that the real strength of this is that we have an opportunity to build a massive bank of mentors, which means the more women that go through this program, the more opportunities for mentoring there are, and we can make some really great matching decisions based on people's interests, based on people's backgrounds, to make sure that those relationships really are sustainable when they begin. So that is everything I have to tell you. I've been speaking for a really long time. So what I'm going to do now is stop sharing my slides. There we go. And I'm also going to stop the recording so that you have an opportunity to ask questions. As I said, please put your questions in the chat. We'd love to answer anything and everything, and no question is a silly question. So I will stop the recording now, and then I'll look forward to seeing some of your questions, which Fiona will field to me.